Good morning. How are you this morning? Welcome to Daylight with Dean, number 117, on August 16th, 2020. I am so glad that you are here with me this morning. It is Thursday, and my name is Dean Ward, and I'm your host this morning, and I'm so grateful that you decided to join in with me this morning. Let's begin our morning, as all great mornings start, with an amazing sip of coffee. Now, I don't know, you probably cannot hear my dishwasher running in the background, but I can hear it because last night I loaded it and forgot to start it. So, for those of you that are keeping track, yes, I still have the tray underneath the front lip of the dishwasher because it's leaked out so many times that I just don't trust it, even though it's been about 4 months since it's leaked, and I've run it just about every day since then. Wow. Had a great day yesterday. Thank you for those of you that are just cheering me on with my workouts yesterday. Was lower body or leg day, as I like to call it, the most challenging day. And we worked out at 6:30, and it was the same thing. Just kicked my butt, but man, was it good. Well, then I went 20 minutes to my friend's house and started working out there with them as well. They had a 45-minute workout, and it was leg day there too. So my friend Karen, who's on Daylight, yesterday posted a meme of a baby giraffe trying to get up and stand up for the first time maybe. And on that, it said, how I feel. This is how I feel after working out my legs or something like that. And oh, is it funny? So I sent that to Gary, my trainer, and he got a kick out of it, and to Chad, my workout buddy, and it was funny. So while I was at my second workout, I had a phone call in the middle of it that I took because it was somebody who never just calls me out of the blue for no good reason, and I picked up, and it was my friend that had talked to me 6 months ago about getting baptized, but we couldn't sync up their schedule when they wanted to do it. And her daughter's getting married this weekend. And so she called and said, well, would you be interested in baptizing me and my two daughters and she started naming, at least 3 and possibly 6 people total to baptize after church Sunday at one of the people. They have a pool at their house. And I just have to tell you, that is one of the most fun phone calls to get as a pastor. Whenever an adult has placed their faith and trust in Jesus Christ, and it's not just a private, personal thing here. They want to make it public. They want to declare it to everybody, because that's what baptism is. Part of what it is declaring publicly with an outward action of being baptized to declare the internal, private action that took place in your life. And it's what really separates the tire kickers from the purchasers. It's a defining moment in one's walk with Jesus Christ. And if you saw the message on Sunday, the online sermon, you'd see the young man that I baptized in the creek last week, and how thrilling that is to celebrate and experience. And so I just want to say, if you've given your life to Christ, if you've prayed to receive that gift of salvation and ask Jesus to be your leader and your Savior and forgiver, if you've asked him to forgive your sins and receive that gift, been adopted into his family, that can all happen very quietly. And in Western PA, our faith is important to us, but it's very private. We keep it very close to the vest, I notice. We don't like to talk about it in settings and let the cat out of the bag. Well, baptism lets the cat out of the bag. That's a very odd phrase, isn't it? Lets the cat out of the bag. Baptism is that declaration that, yes, I'm a follower and I want the watching world to know. And so I'm so thrilled to get to experience that this Sunday afternoon after their family's wedding on Saturday afternoon. It's going to be a great, great event. So yesterday, I was very late to my gym, so I'm going to try to cut it short today and get to the gym on time. But yesterday, Mark, the campus pastor at our Franklin Park location, the River Franklin Park, we were working on this week's message. And this week's message is on living in victory over victimhood. So this week, as we were working on this message, I ran across something that when I read it, I just was like, well, I just have to share this on Daylight even before it gets mentioned in the sermon. But this is a list of lies that we tell ourselves, things that aren't true that we tell ourselves. And if you, all of us at some point may lean into a few of these, but if you find yourself making these kind of statements often, then you may be someone who lives with a victim kind of mentality instead of a victorious mentality. And so I wanted to read them because I found them compelling. They were in an article that we read. It's called Common Cognitive Disorders, also known as, we labeled it, Lies We Tell Ourselves. This is a partial list from Robert Leahy, Stephen Holland, and Lada McGinn's treatment plans and interventions for these kind of things. So the first one, mind reading. You assume that you know what people think without having sufficient evidence of their thoughts, such as, he thinks I'm a loser. Fortune teller, that's a common cognitive disorder. A fortune teller, you predict the future negatively. Things will get worse, or there is danger ahead. Quote, I'll fail that exam, or I won't get the job. Here's a word I like, catastrophizing. Catastrophizing. You believe that what has happened or will happen will be so awful and unbearable, you won't be able to stand it. Quote, it would be terrible if I failed. Labeling, number 4, labeling. Means you assign global negative traits to yourself and others. Quote, I'm undesirable, or he's a rotten person. Number 5, discounting positives. Now this is great. You may recognize this somewhere along the line. You claim that the positive things you or others do are trivial. Quote, well, that's what wives are supposed to do, so it doesn't count when she's nice to me. Or quote, those successes were easy, so they don't matter. Do you ever discount positive things in your life? Do you ever discredit them, saying it's no big deal? It's just, instead of celebrating them and saying, yes, that was awesome. Do you have friends in your life that you can share anything with, and you know that they know it's not bragging, or if it is, it doesn't matter? One of my questions I love to ask is, if it would not be considered bragging, what's one thing that you'd like to tell me about? And just let it rip. Let's celebrate those things. Another common cognitive disorder. Number 6, negative filtering. You focus almost exclusively on the negatives and seldom notice the positives. Look at all those people who don't like me. Overgeneralizing, number 7. You perceive a global pattern of negatives on the basis of a single incident. Now, this is very common. This generally happens to me. I seem to fail at a lot of things. Here's one that I had to practice saying because my dyslexia kicked in with it. Dichotomous thinking. You view events or people in all or nothing terms. I get rejected by everyone. It was a complete waste of time. Dichotomous thinking. That's one that is often leaned into. Blaming. You focus on the other person as the source of your negative feelings, and you refuse to take responsibility for changing yourself. Now, this one really falls into victimizing and a victim mentality, such as, she's to blame for the way I feel now, or my parents caused all my problems. We're just going to leave that one go and move to the next one. A 10th cognitive disorder. There's 12 of them. What if? You keep asking a series of questions about what if something happens, and you fail to be satisfied with any of the answers. Yeah, but what if I get anxious? Or what if I can't catch my breath? Number 11, emotional reasoning. You let your feelings guide your interpretation of reality. I feel depressed, therefore my marriage is not working out. And number 12, inability to disconform. Now that's a word that I'm not familiar with. Inability to not conform or disconform. I think that's what it means. It means you reject any evidence or arguments that might contradict your negative thoughts. For example, when you have the thought, I'm unlovable, you reject as irrelevant any evidence that people like you. Consequently, your thought cannot be refuted. That's not the real issue. There are deeper problems. There are other factors. Now, I wanted to read that list for 2 reasons. Because I wanted to see how it played out, to read it and go through it to see if it was too long or irrelevant to include the whole list. So my thought is that I'll include it in the printed outline, the take-home study notes, but probably won't read the whole thing. But I'll probably read a few of them. So I wanted to practice it on daylight. But then secondly, I wanted to invite you to see if you have any of those thought patterns that show up from time to time in your life. Because as I read that list, I thought that's exactly why I'm doing Daylight, to help people get that kind of thinking out of their lives, out of their minds, out of their heads as they begin each and every day. And so, if you struggle with thinking those kind of thoughts, if you struggle with navigating life without believing the worst about yourself or the worst about every situation, welcome to Daylight. Because it's my hope that this segment of 20 minutes every day brightens your day, gives you hope, allows you to see the blessings of God in your life that have not been noticed. It's my hope that this time helps you break through some of those common cognitive disorders, or stinking thinking, as some of us have called them in the past. Because your mind is a powerful, powerful asset. It can be your greatest ally and asset, or your biggest weakness in your life. And you can train your mind. You can change the way your mind thinks. You can choose to meditate on good things. That's why I love Philippians chapter 4, because it says over and over and over again things like this. Whatever is good, whatever is lovely, whatever is helpful, that may be my interpretation. If there's any virtue, think about these things. This is me quoting now, putting it in my words. Whatever is helpful, think about these things. Whatever is positive, think about these things. Whatever brings you life, think about these things. Because we can train our mind to break free from the stinking thinking that it gets trapped in. And so may you catch every negative thought, unhelpful, common cognitive disorder, or stinking thinking. May you catch every thought that comes into your mind that's negative, and may you hold it and say, I'm not giving you any more space or time in my life today. And let it go. Because those thoughts come into my mind, but I look at them and say, that's getting out of here. I'm not meditating on that. And if it gets stuck in my mind, then I complain to God about it. Like, God, I can't quit thinking about this stupid thing. And I know it doesn't honor or bring glory to you. So I'm bringing it to you. I ask that you take it from me, and I leave it at your feet. And I give it to you now. Man, that takes the power out of those stinking thinking things that come into our minds. So I want to invite you today to pay attention to all the negative messages that your mind tells yourself, or that you hear other people saying to you, or other people saying about yourself. Yesterday I was with my friend, and he made a statement, something like, I'm just a loser. And I took my hands and I was like, if I ever hear you talking that way about yourself, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. And he could kick my butt every day of the week. I said, you are not allowed to talk about my friend that way. He was talking about himself. And oftentimes we repeat the negative messages that we have been told throughout our lives about ourselves to ourselves. And we start to believe them. So let's get rid of that stinking thinking, and let's honor God with our thoughts and our minds and our lives today. Let's pray. Father, I thank you so much for the opportunity to share this time with my good friends this morning. I pray, Lord, that you would bless them. I pray that today's daylight would be helpful, that we would pay attention to the stinking thinking that comes into our mind about ourselves, those negative messages that we latch onto, and start to believe, even though they are blasphemy against those who are fearfully and wonderfully made by you, even though they are blasphemy against us and our souls and the amazing creations that you created us to be. God, we're so grateful that you didn't make a mistake when you made us. We're so grateful that we get to do this day with you. We invite you now into our day. May we be aware of your presence and your love and your grace and your goodness and your blessings throughout our day today. God, we love you so much. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Push the finish button, bottom right-hand corner. My wife is turning it off.